Today we talk about all the open hand forms in Wing Chun. Hey, welcome to Practice Wing Chun, where we discuss Wing Chun and answer any training related questions. My name is Edgar and this is episode 51 of Practice Wing Chun. Today we'll be talking about the 4 open hand forms in Wing Chun. In my school there are 6 forms actually. There's Silam Tao, Chum Kyu, the Bokjongyan form, I said Chum Kyu, Byu the 6.5 point pole, and the butterfly sword. So there are 6 forms, and 4 of these are open hand. What I mean by open hand, where you're not holding anything, you're just using your arms to do the form. Now, before we get into it, I just want to mention that these names of the forms are how I learned it. So they may be slightly different for you, and there may be slight variations on how they're spelled, but these are how I learned it and how I spell it. But I hope you can follow along and understand which forms I'm referring to. The first form we learn is Silam Tao, which I think is kind of the structure, the fundamentals of Wing Chun, because it goes through all your techniques. Then we have Chum Kyu, where even though there's a lot of movement in there and there's also a few strikes in there, I feel Chum Kyu is more about defending and making a connection with your opponent, because there's a lot of movements where you're just bridging or closing the gap between you and the opponent. So I've always seen Chum Kyu as more of a defense form. Then we have the wooden dummy form, and I learned this after the Chum Kyu form. And the wooden dummy form is essentially kind of where you apply the techniques you learn, and you're also learning about movement, meaning how to step in to your opponent's space, how to get around it, and things like that. Now, after the wooden dummy form, actually, I think I started Byu, the next form, in the middle or like 3/4 into the wooden dummy form. So I didn't finish the dummy form until I finished Byu. And Byu is where it became a whole new form for me. Instead of doing the traditional stances, the traditional techniques, so there were a lot more circular movements when you're getting into your stance. And then there were also the use of elbows and a lot of Byu, which is the name of the form. And it's a very aggressive form. Compared to the first 3, I think Byu is the one that works you out the most. And for me, I always use a lot of energy for it, because all the movements are just so powerful, and it doesn't even have to be fast. It's just a lot of like power involved to like the elbow strikes, the Byu, and it's just really, it works up a sweat. So of the 4, I think Byu would probably be the most considered as the attack form. So going back and recapping the 4 forms, Silam Tao would be the foundation form. Then Chum Kyu would be the defense form. Next, the dummy would be the application form. And last, Byu would be the attack form. These are just my interpretations of the form. So let me know what you think and how you've been applying your forms. Do you agree with my interpretations, or do you see things a little differently? Let me know in the comments below. Until next time, keep training.